This is a message about Babylon that God revealed to Isaiah, son of Amoz. On a bare hill raise a signal flag. Shout to them, wave your hands so they might enter the gates of the princes. I have given orders to my chosen soldiers. I have summoned the warriors through whom I will vent my anger, my boasting, arrogant ones. There is a loud noise on the mountains. It sounds like a large army. There is a great commotion among the kingdoms. Nations are being assembled. The Lord who commands armies is mustering forces for battle. They come from a distant land, from the horizon. It is the Lord with his instruments of judgment coming to destroy the whole earth. Wail, for the Lord's day of judgment is near. It comes with all the destructive power of the sovereign judge. For this reason all hands hang limp. Every human heart loses its courage. They panic. Cramps and pain seize hold of them like those of a woman who is straining to give birth. They look at one another in astonishment. Their faces are flushed red. Look, the Lord's day of judgment is coming. It is a day of cruelty and savage, raging anger, destroying the earth and annihilating its sinners. Indeed, the stars in the sky and their constellations no longer give out their light. The sun is darkened as soon as it rises, and the moon does not shine. I will punish the world for its evil, and wicked people for their sin. I will put an end to the pride of the insolent. I will bring down the arrogance of tyrants. I will make human beings more scarce than pure gold, and people more scarce than gold from Ophir. So I will shake the heavens, and the earth will shake loose from its foundation because of the fury of the Lord who commands armies in the day he vents his raging anger. Like a frightened gazelle or a sheep with no shepherd, each will turn toward home. Each will run to his homeland. Everyone who is caught will be stabbed. Everyone who is seized will die by the sword. Their children will be smashed to pieces before their very eyes. Their houses will be looted and their wives raped. Look, I am stirring up the Medes to attack them. They are not concerned about silver, nor are they interested in gold. Their arrows will cut young men to ribbons. They have no compassion on a person's offspring. They will not look with pity on children. Babylon, the most admired of kingdoms, the Chaldeans' source of honor and pride, will be destroyed by God, just as Sodom and Gomorrah were. No one will live there again. No one will ever reside there again. No Bedouin will camp there. No shepherds will rest their flocks there. Wild animals will rest there. The ruined houses will be full of hyenas. Ostriches will live there. Wild goats will skip among the ruins. Wild dogs will yip in her ruined fortresses. Jackals will yelp in the once splendid palaces. Her time is almost up. Her days will not be prolonged. The Lord will certainly have compassion on Jacob. He will again choose Israel as his special people and restore them to their land. Resident foreigners will join them and unite with the family of Jacob. Nations will take them and bring them back to their own place. Then the family of Jacob will make foreigners their servants as they settle in the Lord's land. They will make their captors captives and rule over the ones who oppress them. When the Lord gives you relief from your suffering and anxiety and from the hard labor which you were made to perform, you will taunt the king of Babylon with these words. Look how the oppressor has met his end. Hostility has ceased. The Lord has broken the club of the wicked, the scepter of rulers. It furiously struck down nations with unceasing blows. It angrily ruled over nations, oppressing them without restraint. The whole earth rests and is quiet. They break out into song. The evergreens also rejoice over your demise, as do the cedars of Lebanon, singing, Since you fell asleep, no woodsman comes up to chop us down. Sheol below is stirred up about you, ready to meet you when you arrive. It rouses the spirits of the dead for you, all the former leaders of the earth. It makes all the former kings of the nations rise from their thrones. All of them respond to you, saying, You too have become weak like us. You have become just like us. Your splendor has been brought down to Sheol, as well as the sound of your stringed instruments. You lie on a bed of maggots with a blanket of worms over you. Look how you have fallen from the sky, O shining one, son of the dawn. You have been cut down to the ground, O conqueror of the nations. You said to yourself, I will climb up to the sky. Above the stars of El I will set up my throne. I will rule on the mountains of assembly, on the remote slopes of Zaphon. I will climb up to the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you were brought down to Sheol, to the remote slopes of the pit. Those who see you stare at you. They look at you carefully, thinking, is this the man who shook the earth? The one who made kingdoms tremble? Is this the one who made the world like a desert, who ruined its cities and refused to free his prisoners so they could return home? As for all the kings of the nations, all of them lie down in splendor, each in his own tomb. But you have been thrown out of your grave like a shoot that is thrown away. You lie among the slain, among those who have been slashed by the sword, among those headed for the stones of the pit, as if you were a mangled corpse. You will not be buried with them, because you destroyed your land and killed your people. The offspring of the wicked will never be mentioned again. Prepare to execute his sons for the sins their ancestors have committed. They must not rise up and take possession of the earth, or fill the surface of the world with cities. I will rise up against them, says the Lord who commands armies. I will blot out all remembrance of Babylon and destroy all her people, including the offspring she produces, says the Lord. I will turn her into a place that is overrun with wild animals and covered with pools of stagnant water. I will get rid of her just as one sweeps away dirt with a broom, says the Lord who commands armies. The Lord who commands armies makes this solemn vow. Be sure of this, just as I have intended, so it will be. Just as I have planned, it will happen. I will break Assyria in my land. I will trample them underfoot on my hills. Their yoke will be removed from my people. The burden will be lifted from their shoulders. This is the plan I have devised for the whole earth. My hand is ready to strike all the nations. Indeed, the Lord who commands armies has a plan, and who can possibly frustrate it? His hand is ready to strike, and who can possibly stop it? In the year King Ahaz died, this message was revealed. Don't be so happy, all you Philistines, just because the club that beat you has been broken. For a viper will grow out of the serpent's root, and its fruit will be a darting adder. The poor will graze in my pastures, the needy will rest securely. But I will kill your root by famine. It will put to death all your survivors. Wail, O city gate. Cry out, O city. Melt with fear, all you Philistines, for out of the north comes a cloud of smoke, and there are no stragglers in its ranks. How will they respond to the messengers of this nation? Indeed, the Lord has made Zion secure. The oppressed among his people will find safety in her. The land of buzzing wings is as good as dead, the one beyond the rivers of Cush, that sends messengers by sea who glide over the water's surface in boats made of papyrus. Go, you swift messengers, to a nation of tall, smooth-skinned people, to a people that are feared far and wide, to a nation strong and victorious, whose land rivers divide. All you who live in the world, who reside on the earth, you will see a signal flag raised on the mountains. You will hear a trumpet being blown. For this is what the Lord has told me. I will wait and watch from my place, like a scorching heat produced by the sunlight, like a cloud of mist in the heat of harvest. For before the harvest, when the bud has sprouted and the ripening fruit appears, he will cut off the unproductive shoots with pruning knives. He will prune the trendles. They will all be left for the birds of the hills and the wild animals. The birds will eat them during the summer, and all the wild animals will eat them during the winter. At that time, tribute will be brought to the Lord who commands armies, by a people that are tall and smooth-skinned, a people that are feared far and wide, a nation strong and victorious, whose land rivers divide. The tribute will be brought to the place where the Lord who commands armies has chosen to reside, on Mount Zion. Fall down, sit in the dirt, O virgin daughter Babylon. Sit on the ground, not on a throne. O daughter of the Babylonians, indeed you will no longer be called delicate and pampered. Pick up millstones and grind flour, remove your veil, strip off your skirt, expose your legs, cross the streams. Let your private parts be exposed, your genitals will be on display. I will get revenge. I will not have pity on anyone. Says our protector, the Lord who commands armies is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit silently. Go to a hiding place. O daughter of the Babylonians, indeed you will no longer be called Queen of Kingdoms. I was angry at my people. I defiled my special possession. I handed them over to you. You showed them no mercy. You even placed a very heavy burden on old people. You said, I will rule forever as permanent queen. You did not think about these things. You did not consider how it would turn out. So now listen to this, O one who lives so lavishly, who lives securely, who says to herself, I am unique. No one can compare to me. I will never have to live as a widow. I will never lose my children. Both of these will come upon you suddenly in one day. You will lose your children and be widowed. You will be overwhelmed by these tragedies, despite your many incantations and your numerous amulets. You were complacent in your evil deeds. You thought, no one sees me. Your self-professed wisdom and knowledge led you astray when you say, I am unique. No one can compare to me. Disaster will overtake you. You will not know how to charm it away. Destruction will fall on you. You will not be able to appease it. Calamity will strike you suddenly before you recognize it. Persist in trusting your amulets and your many incantations which you have faithfully recited since your youth. Maybe you will be successful. Maybe you will scare away disaster. You are tired out from listening to so much advice. Let them take their stand. The ones who see omens in the sky, who gaze at the stars, who make monthly predictions, let them rescue you from the disaster that is about to overtake you. Look, they are like straw which the fire burns up. They cannot rescue themselves from the heat of the flames. There are no coals to warm them, no firelights to enjoy. They will disappoint you. Those who have so faithfully dealt with you since your youth, each strays off in his own direction, leaving no one to rescue you. Listen to this, O family of Jacob, you who are called by the name Israel and are descended from Judah, who take oaths in the name of the Lord and invoke the God of Israel, but not in an honest and just manner. Indeed, they live in the holy city. They trust in the God of Israel, whose name is the Lord who commands armies. I announced events beforehand. I issued the decrees and made the predictions. Suddenly I acted, and they came to pass. I did this because I know how stubborn you are. Your neck muscles are like iron and your forehead like bronze. I announced them to you beforehand. Before they happened, I predicted them for you, so you could never say, my image did these things. My idol, my cast image decreed them. You have heard. Now look at all the evidence. Will you not admit that what I say is true? From this point on, I am announcing to you new events that are previously unrevealed and you do not know about. Now they come into being, not in the past. Before today you did not hear about them, so you could not say, yes, I know about them. You did not hear, you do not know. You were not told beforehand. For I know that you are very deceitful. You were labeled a rebel from birth. For the sake of my reputation, I hold back my anger. For the sake of my prestige, I restrain myself from destroying you. Look, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have purified you in the furnace of misery. For my sake alone I will act, for how can I allow my name to be defiled? I will not share my glory with anyone else. Listen to me, O Jacob, Israel, whom I summoned. I am the one. I am present at the very beginning and at the very end. Yes, my hand founded the earth, my right hand spread out the sky. I summon them, they stand together. All of you gather together and listen. Who among them announced these things? The Lord's ally will carry out his desire against Babylon. He will exert his power against the Babylonians. I have spoken. Yes, I have summoned him. I lead him, and he will succeed. Approach me. Listen to this. From the very first, I have not spoken in secret. When it happens, I am there. So now the sovereign Lord has sent me, accompanied by his Spirit. This is what the Lord your protector says, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord your God, who teaches you how to succeed, who leads you in the way you should go. If only you had obeyed my commandments. Prosperity would have flowed to you like a river. Deliverance would have come to you like the waves of the sea. Your descendants would have been as numerous as sand, and your children like its granules. Their name would not have been cut off and eliminated from my presence. Leave Babylon. Flee from the Babylonians. Announce it with a shout of joy. Make this known. Proclaim it throughout the earth. Say, the Lord protects his servant Jacob.